A quick note, the Sandy K Inner Circle is finally open. This has been years in the making, my private women-only community. Live Q&As, exclusive episodes, real conversations you won't find anywhere else. $47 Canadian a month. Link is in the show notes. Now let's dive into this week's episode. Hi, everyone. It's me, Sandy Cruz. Welcome to Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. For many years now, I've been a trusted voice for people in midlife and beyond who want a deeper, more honest conversation about wellness. One that includes the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the esoteric. Most episodes are solo now because I want to bring you thoughtful research, lived experience, and grounded insight without noise or bias. And when I do bring on a guest, it's because their work genuinely adds something meaningful to the conversation. Here, we explore the full spectrum of what it means to be well, how the body functions, how the mind heals, how the spirit expands, and how all of these layers shape life lived with clarity and joy. Thanks for being here. And if this show resonates with you, please follow, rate, review, and share it. It truly helps the message reach more people. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. Today, I'm going to have a little bit of a lighter topic. I've had a lot of heavier topics, but I'm going to talk about the psychology behind the handbag that you carry. This is specifically for women, or if you're a guy and, maybe you need to carry this giant man purse. I don't even know what you call it anymore, but there's a very interesting psychology behind it. And I think you're going to find this insightful and a really fun episode, or maybe it's not going to be so fun. You're going to have a realization and go, holy crap, like, oh my God, I'm doing this and I don't even realize I'm doing this. So first thing I'm going to ask is for you to subscribe wherever you are listening. If you're not sure where you can subscribe, I am on YouTube, but you can go to sandycruz.ca and find out where to subscribe. It's on every single podcasting platform, and it's SandyKruse. And the reason I'm going to stop and pause and ask you to subscribe is because a lot of you come across my podcast, maybe from a friend. I am going to ask you to share it as well, because sharing really helps my podcast to reach more people. I don't have a huge engine behind me and a big operation doing what I do. And I've been here for over 6 years and over 1.4 million downloads. I started this podcast really taking on subjects and interviewing thought leaders in places that really relate to our longevity and health. I've changed in a lot of ways. I was very much entrenched in the whole biohacking community and world, and used to speak and moderate panels mostly in the US. And then I had to realize that health is so much more than hacking your health, and longevity and aging better is so much more. And most of you know, I am a registered holistic nutritionist. So this is not a weekend program in nutrition. It's a 2-year college diploma with the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. I have multiple certifications in clinical nutrition, endocrinology, and hormones. I have peptides and anti-aging. I've done a lot, you guys. And so my belief is that our wellness and our ability to age well expands well beyond those longevity supplements everyone's telling you to take. And that's why this year I have decided to do a lot or mostly solo episodes, because I come at it from an unbiased perspective, whereby at the end of this podcast, I'm not trying to sell you a supplement with my coupon code, which is the direction that a lot of the health and wellness has come to. And that's okay. We all love a coupon code. I'm not insulting anybody, but I decided that in order for me to really feel like I'm helping the world, which is why I started this podcast in the first place, I have to go at it more from a very high integrity, authentic perspective. So, when you subscribe wherever you are listening, it helps. When you share it, it helps. When you review it. So, on Apple and Spotify, you have the ability to add comments, to rate it, to review it. If you could please do that wherever you are listening, it will help a ton. Last week, I released Protecting a Long Marriage After 50. This is I'm going to say, because most of what I do is science and soul, I'm not trying to sell you a therapy session at the end. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of what I come at with is lived experience. My daughter had cancer at age 5. I was 40. I had cancer 1 year after her. I was 41. And I had my thyroid removed. That changed my life. I went back to college. I'm actually an English degree graduate, but that's why I talk about everything from a holistic perspective, because I've been on this, I'm going to say, I saw this one guy, the guy who does t-shirts on Instagram, the guy who's like, I don't want to hear about your journey anymore. I've been on this journey. He makes me laugh though, but it's true. Everybody is on a journey. And we all are on a journey. And so I share a lot of my journey with you from a very authentic perspective. And that's science and soul. And then I bring in the research. And then I kind of put it all together to give you something to help you take that and use it if it resonates. I don't shove anything down your throat. I don't claim to be an expert in you like a lot of the wellness people do out there. I have had my challenges, and I'm a woman who has gone through menopause without a thyroid gland. A lot of people don't talk about that. So, last few episodes, I had Protecting a Long Marriage After 50. I talk a lot about interferences. You know how that old saying is, you are who your friends are. What's amazing is that when you dig into family therapy, marriage research, all that research, it still holds true, which is why if you want your marriage to last, you're going to have to put up a, a pretty good boundary around yourself and your partner. And these are things that people don't often talk about. A lot of times we see now on social media these clips where it's just like, leave him or leave her, or, it's this victimhood. That's not the perspective that I want to take. I like the perspective of doing what you can to make it work. And that's what this is about. I also wrote an article on it. If you want to subscribe to my Substack, most of my articles are free. There are paid options. It's sandycruz.substack.com. The one before that was why 2026 is the year of disclosure. And this is where I take kind of all of these greats in this space of more, the psychological sociologies in there, politics, astrology. And 2026 is definitely the year where everything kind of comes up to be finally released and disclosed. So that was a cool one. I had another one, why I'll never call a woman a Karen again. And I got some interesting feedback on that. There's my other one was why women lose themselves, the spiral, the knots, and the midlife awakening. So my my episodes are not just about here's menopause and here's what you need to know. And everybody's kind of learning about that already. We kind of already know that. So this space is more of an unknown explorative space. So today I'm going to talk actually about the psychology behind the bag you carry and then the woman or man that you're becoming. So I'm going to tell you this episode that I'm releasing today, it was sparked by a TikTok, and you probably have seen it. And the funny thing is it was a guy, like a very masculine guy, no purse, no merce, whatever. And he on his TikTok, he just said a psychologist once said, if a woman carries a small handbag, it's not a fashion choice, it's a signal about her life. And I'm like, well, the guy, I don't get why there was a guy, but whatever. And they don't, TikTok didn't really get it wrong. That guy didn't really get it wrong, but actually, he kind of got it right because while no credible psychologist has ever said that exact sentence, the objects that we carry, especially as women, are never just objects. They're extensions of our identity, our nervous system, our emotional load, and the season of life that we're in. So today I'm going to go pretty deep, not TikTok deep, not pop psychology deep, but real research, real psychology, real somatic science, and the soul level truth behind why a woman shifts from a giant tote to a tiny crossbody. And yes, I'm going to share my own shift because it's the perfect example of how a bag change is never just a bag change. So I think you're going to like this one. It's a little more fun. So there's a theory, they call it the extended self theory. It's by Belk in 1988. And he actually wrote, I think, yeah, a Russell Belk. He wrote a paper. It's called Possessions and the Extended Self. And it's one of the most cited works in consumer psychology. The objects that we carry are extensions of our identity. This is identity signaling. A big bag isn't just a bag, it's an identity. I carry everything, I handle everything, I'm responsible. A small bag is also an identity. I carry only what's mine. Belk's research explains why a bag shift is an identity shift. Then there's the cognitive load theory by Sweller, Ayers, and Kaluga. Kaluga, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Cognitive load theory shows that humans reduce external load when internal load decreases. This is actually cognitive load psychology. So, when your brain is carrying everyone's needs, everyone's schedules, everyone's emotions, everyone's unpredictability, you carry a big bag. When your brain stops doing that, your bag shrinks. And so, this is not even a metaphor, it's actually neuroscience. Then there's anticipatory coping by Kobasa and Maddie. Hardiness research shows that people in high responsibility roles externalize preparedness. They carry more just in case items. It's a stress coping mechanism. This is anticipatory coping. A big bag says, I need to be prepared for anything. A small bag says, I trust myself. This shift is measurable in stress psychology. And we see this exact thing in mothers who are toting around toddlers, right? I've been there where you have to basically carry everything. So there's a real life like, yeah, I gotta bring it all because this one needs a snack and this one needs a nap and whatever. So then there's somatic weight intolerance. So there's a polyvagal theory that shows that when the nervous system exits chronic stress, it becomes intolerant of unnecessary physical weight. This is somatic patterning. So your body literally says, I don't carry that anymore. This is why so many women say, I can't imagine carrying a big bag anymore because their nervous system has changed. Then there's fashion psychology, Dr. Carolyn Mayer. Fashion psychology shows that accessories are identity microsignals. I mean, I think this is kind of obvious. Large bag identity, the caretaker, the planner, the fixer, the emotional load bearer. Small bag identity, sovereign, boundaried, self contained, intentional. This is identity expression through objects. I got a couple more to get through here. Minimalism and Well-Being by Hook and Ackerman. This is fun. Minimalism shows that reducing possessions increases your autonomy, your clarity, your emotional regulation. And a small bag is a micro minimalist shift that reflects internal clarity. This is object minimalization in practice. Emotional labor. I've actually quoted a lot of Hochschild. Arlie Hochschild work shows that women carry invisible emotional labor. And I recorded a podcast about that. I mentioned it in this one about how women are the biggest we carry the most emotional labor. And it manifests into physical objects. The more emotional labor, the more physical items carried. The big bag era is the emotional labor era. Your small bag era is the emotional sovereign era. This is not symbolic. This is a sociological fact. So let's talk about some of the archetypes. And I'm going to go a little deeper, the part that you really feel in your bones, okay? The big handbag woman. She's the woman who holds up the world. She's the one who anticipates needs before they're spoken. She's the emotional backbone. She's the planner. She's the fixer. She's the one who carries the invisible load. Her bag reflects her load. She's the woman who says, if something goes wrong, I'll handle it. She's the woman who carries the band-aids, the chargers, the snacks, the receipts, the tissues, the everyone's forgotten items. She's the woman who prepares for everyone else's emergencies. Okay, this is the woman with toddlers. Listen, I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. I know this really, really well, but I'm going to get into my own insights shortly. The small bag woman, she's the woman who has returned to herself. She's the woman who carries only what belongs to her. She's the woman who moves lightly, intentionally, and with boundaries. She's the woman who trusts her own adaptability. She is the woman who no longer overcarries. I want to take a quick moment to tell you about something I created just for you. If you love what I talk about on this podcast, the hormones, the thyroid, the gut, the labs, the whole body, mind, spirit, and soul conversation, there's a place where we can get so much deeper than I ever could on this public feed. It's called the Sandy K Inner Circle, my private women-only community. Every month, you get a live Q&A with me on Zoom. Real questions, real answers, no scripts, no filters, nobody telling you that this must be done a certain way, just open discussions. You also get an exclusive episode nobody else hears, a practical download you can actually use, and access to our private women-only Facebook community where wide open, honest discussions happen on every topic. No agendas, no noise, no bias, no trendy health advice from people who pay for their platforms. Just real, honest conversations you won't find anywhere else. Founding member spots are limited, $47 Canadian per month. Link is in the show notes, sandycruz.substack.com. For women only, I would love to see you inside. Her bag reflects her sovereignty. She's the woman who says, I trust myself. I don't need to carry the world. She carries her keys, her phone, her wallet, her lipstick, nothing more, nothing unnecessary, and nothing that isn't hers. So this is my own shift, okay? For many years, I carried a giant designer tote, that kind that could fit like half my life. And, this was in my 40s when I felt like, a Gucci handbag. Wow. You know, that is a sign that, I've made it. Isn't that funny? So and I'm not talking about the toddler thing, which I already talked about. So at that time, it made sense. I was also in a season where I was carrying a lot mentally, emotionally, logistically, and my bag reflected that. But then something changed. And this actually happened really recently, you guys. I was carrying that giant designer tote until like 3 months ago. So I changed. I didn't go out even and buy a small crossbody. I didn't shop for a new identity. I didn't consciously decide to downsize. I reached into my closet and I pulled out an old small crossbody that I'd owned for years, just a bag I never really used. And I never felt like it was enough. It was a bag that belonged to a version of me that I was never really ready to embody until now. And suddenly, this is the only bag I wanted, not because it was new, not because it was trendy, not because it was a designer. It matched the woman that I had more recently become. And my nervous system wouldn't tolerate the weight of the old life. Not like I have a horrible life. I don't want you guys to think that, but it's just like something shifted in me this year. I also decided to do solo podcast episodes. So my identity shifted. I won't tolerate over carrying. I won't tolerate the old role. The bag didn't even change really. It was me that changed. And the old bag, the small one, was simply waiting for me to catch up. I thought that was kind of interesting because even last year, there was a situation in a Costco parking lot, and I was carrying my designer bag. And after that, I even turned the logo so it was on the inside so nobody knew what kind of a bag it was. There was a man who followed me to my parking spot. It was around Christmas time. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to identify with this bag anymore. And I don't want people to look at me and paint a picture of who I am because of this bag. And then I turned the logo in. And then about 3 months ago, I just stopped using it altogether. I'm done with it. So there is a transition phase. And I just named it. There's a moment where a woman is between identities. She's not the big bag woman anymore. She's not the fully, the small bag woman anymore yet. And it's the phase where she feels the weight of the old life. She feels the pull of the new life. She's shedding. She's clarifying. She's recalibrating. This is where the nervous system really starts to reorganize. And it's where your identity reorganizes. And this is where boundaries reorganize. This is really the becoming. And so, what this means for any woman listening, if you've shifted from a big bag to a small one, or you're craving that shift, here's what it often means: you're shedding emotional labor. You're no longer the default caretaker. You're trusting yourself more. You're moving from hypervigilance to regulation. You're becoming more boundaried. You're carrying only what's yours, and you're stepping into sovereignty. So your bag is telling the truth that your mouth hasn't said yet, and you may be in between. And another thing I will mention is you're also a big thing with moms, especially, and women who are wives. We carry a lot of guilt. And we feel like, I just released the podcast about long marriages. You somehow get in, how to entangled between your stuff, your partner's stuff. And there comes a point where you have to be who you are. And I've actually recorded this a lot about menopause, helps you to identify that and really boundary yourself and say, that's not mine anymore. This is mine. And I'm only going to worry about this. And I will say there are, and the reason this podcast is really so important for me is I have a lot of that, like, I don't know if it's generational guilt or, it comes from this lineage, Eastern European. We're always like these moms that are more martyrs and guilty and, for anything that's not even ours. And I've realized how much I've self-abandoned. I'm no longer taking stuff on that isn't mine. And I will protect myself at all costs. And yes, I'm a mama bear too. I'm going to protect my child and my children, of course. However, I will never abandon myself, and I will always seek to protect myself, because it's that age old, truth where, you have to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can be that person who you want to be that person for around your life. Just to summarize, TikTok wasn't really wrong about that whole, viral meme or whatever it was. It's just more shallow. So a small bag is a signal, and a big bag is a signal. It could signal where you are in your life at that moment. And it's not the way as social media frames it. It's not as a judgment or as a diagnosis or as a stereotype. It's a signal of what your nervous system can hold, what your identity is ready for, what your emotional load requires, and what season of womanhood you're really in. A bag is never just a handbag. It's a quiet, honest reflection of the woman carrying it. And when that reflection changes, when you suddenly reach for something lighter, smaller, older, forgotten, it's not about fashion, it's about your evolution. That's it. Today was kind of a short episode. I hope you like it. And if you do, please remember to share it with another friend. I think it goes a long way when you share. And I appreciate you guys. So I will see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to share it with someone you know might benefit. And always remember, when you rate, review, subscribe, you help to support my content and help me to keep going and bringing these conversations to you each and every week. Join me next week for a new topic, new guest, new exciting conversations to help you live your best life.